Broadcasting live worldwide.
Introducing Behind the Rulebook on Sportsnet FM Radio. Behind the Rulebook is a Sportsnet FM radio show that focuses and touches on the comprehensive and detailed match officiating and the rules of the game. The show designed to provide basic game information, rules and procedures of major team sports. Behind the Rulebook, we analyze controversial calls and break down fundamental game instructions necessary to understand how games are officiated. Behind the Rulebook is your front row seat to match officiating analysis with expert game officials. A show designed for players, coaches, and sports fans who want to know and understand better the intricacies of match officiating by breaking down, and yet providing a clear overview of how games are officiated through the application of basic sports rules and procedures. Behind the Rulebook is where the game's decisions get dissected, where every call has a background and a story. It is the voice of the match officials, the referees, the umpires, the VAR assistants, etc. Behind the Rulebook is the system inside the minds of the game rule enforcers, professional but controversial and occasionally provocative. Behind the Rulebook, inside the minds of the rule enforcers in sport, where every call gets clarity, decoding the game one rule at a time. The final word on every call. Hear it from the ones who call it, because the whistle belongs to the officials. Behind the Rulebook, where refs explain controversial calls and break down the chaos, where controversy meets clarity, not just the call but why it was made, the truth behind the whistle. Behind the Rulebook, the show that breaks down the game's backbone, the whistles, the flags, the fearless calls, where the game gets judged. Behind the Rulebook is your front row seat to match officiating, the rules, the refs, the real story. Because game rules aren't optional and the Rulebook never lies. Know the rules and love the game. Behind the Rulebook on Sportsnet FM Radio, Zambia's home for African sports conversations, the nation's sportainment channel.
Welcome to Sportsnet FM Radio, Zambia's home for African sports conversations, the nation's sportainment channel. Tonight, I have a very special guest in my studio. I'm welcoming Mwiinga Timmy Hangoma as a game official. I'd like us just to review the past AFCON. Mwiinga, let me welcome you to Sportsnet FM Radio.
Thank you very much. It's an exciting moment. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so glad to be here. Anyway, that's what I can say.
Great, my guy. This is your place, you know.
Sure, man.
Yeah,
sure.
just try to imagine you are actually a center referee. So tonight is actually happening in our studio.
Theoretically.
Exactly, and the only difference is that you don't have
my feet and
your instruments of power. Yeah, so like I talked about, Timmy, he's a game official. He's actually a football referee, and tonight we invited him to our studio just basically to look at the just ended 2025 AFCON in Morocco. Briefly, as a game official, I understand how that tournament was very important to your development as a game official. Briefly, can you just give a brief overview of how important the just ended AFCON was to you as a soccer referee?
Okay, first of all, each and every tournament that I get to watch, I treat it as a learning curve for me. I take a lot of lessons from all these games that I watch. From the time that I became a referee, there is a certain way that I watch these games that you don't do or any other person doesn't do. Okay, so always watch each and every game with so much interest on what the referee has done, what the referee is going to do, and how the referee is going to actually apply themselves to the game. You understand what I mean? So generally, the AFCON is always an interesting moment. You know, it comes after 2 years. It's not something that we always see. So it is always something interesting when it comes, because the last time we saw an AFCON was 2023. That was 2 years ago. So whenever it comes, it's always an interesting thing. But like I said, I always take it as a learning curve, and I learned so many lessons from this previous AFCON. Lessons will always be there. You know, we learn every day. It was a great tournament, full of lessons, and we took our lessons as referees. You know, I may not just be speaking on behalf of myself, but obviously every referee out there knows that this AFCON had a lot of lessons, both negative and positive. You know?
And of course, later in the program, we'll actually dive a little deep just to find out some of the lessons that you learned.
Of course.
Yeah. I'd love you briefly just to give your perspective on the general feeling of the officiating that took place during the AFCON.
My general feeling about the officiating that was displayed at the AFCON 2025. You know, before we go any further, what I'm going to tell you is, from the time that I became a referee, that was 2017-18, somewhere there, my best AFCON in terms of refereeing was 2023.
Okay.
If you remember that AFCON which Ivory Coast won,
yes,
that was the best AFCON when it comes to refereeing. That was superb. I watched quality refereeing. When you talk about quality refereeing, I can actually place that tournament on
a scale of 1 to 10?
9.5, man.
Really?
9.5, man.
Okay.
Because what I saw on that tournament was quality, man.
Yeah, superb
quality, awesome.
Officiating.
All the nice words that you can put to it.
Right.
They qualify. That tournament was very good.
In your own words, Timmy, I'd like you give us an understanding of what it takes to prepare for a major sporting event of AFCON's magnitude.
Okay. You know, tournaments of that caliber, you know, we're talking about a tournament that's like a continental showpiece. You understand what I mean? Every continent has got this biggest showpiece that they have.
Yes.
Biggest national showpiece. In Africa, we've got AFCON. That's the same way they have Euro in Europe.
Yes.
They have Copa, what do they call it in America? Copa America or
Copa
something.
America.
Yes. Copa America. There is Asian Cup.
Asian Cup, yes.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So now, this is like the biggest tournament that...
Yes, the biggest showpiece on the continent.
On the continent, you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Every tournament has got that. Now, when you look at that tournament, I'm not really a very exposed referee when it comes to international level. But obviously, when I look at that tournament from a distance, you are able to tell that this is a big thing. You know, that is a very big tournament where even just you appearing, just you making an appearance, should be something on the books. It should be something very big for you. You understand what I mean?
As a referee.
As a referee, as whoever, you know.
Yes. Be it
you're going there,
spectator, a fan.
Exactly what I mean. Be it you're going there as a player.
Yes.
Obviously, even players, you know how they honor call-ups when they are given call-ups.
Exactly. That that call-up to participate in the AFCON. Yes.
You know. You are going there for the first time as a player. Even if you didn't play any game, because you have that call-up on your CV, it counts.
It
you
does
understand
count.
what I mean?
Yes.
As a coach, you went there. On your CV, it's going to reflect someone to say, he took this team.
He took part in this
as a
edition of an AFCON.
Exactly. It's going to reflect somewhere.
Yes.
As a fan, you know, when we talk about fans, we're talking about, I'll give a very good example about this famous fan from Congo, Kuka Mboladinga.
Yes, the
one who went there to give tribute to Patrice Lumumba.
Yes.
You know, this guy is now big, you know.
He's big, yes. He's been contracted by, corporates.
The first thing that I saw was the president gave him a jeep.
Yes.
Okay, when he came back. Before he came back, the officials, the CAF officials in Morocco had suggested that he should remain
He stays
because
back.
Morocco was eliminated in the round of 16 by Algeria. So they had suggested that he should stay back. They wanted him to attend each and every match, and they were willing to offer him a whopping 2,000 euros every game up to the final so that he can be the one to hand over the trophy to the champions. Okay, so he refused. He turned down. He said, no, for the sake of patriotism,
Yeah,
I'm
for the
going
sake
to go
of my
back.
team.
Yes,
I came here because of my team.
Exactly.
I
So
can't stay behind.
I can't stay behind. I'm going back with my team. That's how he traveled back. The moment he reached in Congo, the president gifted him with a jeep. Before they met, he just sent a jeep to him, and then he said, I want to meet you. Now we don't know what the other things that he was given when he met with
There's
the
actually
president.
there's a lot
There's quite a
actually.
lot. And then later on, he was bought another SUV,
Yes.
a very expensive SUV. Then later on, yesterday I was reading something on the internet. He's just signed an ambassadorship deal
Yeah.
with Orange Network.
Yes.
So there's quite a lot. So now, when I say that, I mean that is a platform that puts everyone
What's on the spotlight?
on the spotlight. You understand what I mean?
Exactly.
Regardless of how you go there, as a spectator, as
Yes.
a player,
Yes.
as a coach,
Exactly.
as a referee. But as a referee, if I ever get that opportunity myself,
To go and officiate at the AFCON.
even if I just go there and just do one game,
Yes.
it's big.
It's
to me.
huge.
That is a
you
very
know,
big.
Actually,
big
let
tournament.
me actually add on to your sentiment. You know, I got an opportunity when I was a youth
Mhm.
to go to the 2010 World Cup in South Africa.
Wow. 2010 World Cup.
Exactly. You know, I
was
had
so
an opportunity,
historic,
Mwiinga.
man.
You know what I mean?
That was the first time Africa was hosting
The World Cup. You know what?
you know.
So I'll tell you that I attended, you know, Africa's first ever World Cup. You know what I mean?
hosting, yeah.
In Joburg, South Africa.
Okay.
I got that opportunity. You know,
Wow.
I flew, you know, to Joburg. I was part of the 45 African youth on the continent that were actually invited to be part of the grassroots football development alongside the World Cup.
That was huge.
You know, and I got an opportunity to watch the Brazil versus Korea DP
Okay.
at FNB Stadium.
By
So
then,
I do
by
understand.
then Neymar was in his prime.
Neymar was actually in his prime. So I totally agree with you, you know, with what you're saying, just to be given that opportunity
Those are
to go to,
prestigious
you know,
moments, man.
exactly, you know what I mean. With that said, you know, this AFCON has been the most controversial in terms of officiating. You know, there's so much has been talked about regarding the 2025 AFCON, you know, in terms of officiating. You know, much of it has been to do with the host nation, Morocco. You know, other fans have said, actually, it looks like officials have been siding the hosts. Others have actually said it's actually the officials, you know, that have actually helped the host to actually
reach the final.
to reach the final.
Yeah, I've met those stories in the streets, and you know, being a referee, everybody looks up to you when it comes to this thing.
Exactly.
You know, I must tell you one thing before I even answer that question. Sometimes I'm just watching a game from the comfort of my home. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
And then something controversial happens. Then you try to check your phone. You are finding messages. Iwe, vitavashtika vijason.
Yes. What does it mean?
You know, everyone wants you to like put a word on it.
Exactly.
They want to understand from you.
Yes.
I actually appreciate the fact that there are people who want to know it from you because they know that you know better than them.
And
I may not know everything, but I know better than other people because
of the position you find yourself
exactly. So I had to learn this thing. I had to write an exam. You know, if I have to mention this, the referee's exam is the only exam that only a distinction makes you pass. A merit is a fail. Because the passing mark for the referee's exam is 75%. Anything below 75 is a fail.
It's a fail.
Because they take it that for you to be fit to do a match, you're supposed to know at least 3/4 of what is supposed to be done.
Okay.
Yes. So there are people who are going to reach out to you whenever we are watching a game. Why you want to watch tickets? They will send you clips.
Yes.
He saw it point, and then you explain to them.
They want you to
explain to them. They want you. They want to get it from somebody who they appreciate the fact that they've got somebody who knows it better than them.
Someone who went, to train about
exactly.
It's the same thing. So, a few years ago, I got an opportunity as a youth basketball coach. I got an opportunity to be trained by.
Do basketball?
I'm actually a FIBA trained basketball coach.
Okay.
So when I went for my basketball training, our instructor actually told us that, coaching is a thankless job.
Yes.
Do you share the same feeling as referee?
I think so because not everyone is going to understand what you are doing. That's one thing. That's the first thing actually. Not everybody is going to understand what you are doing and why you are doing it. Yeah. There are people who are just going to hate you because you're a referee, nothing else. By virtue of you just being a referee, they hate you naturally. Before you even,
yes.
There are times when we just arrive at the venue.
Yes.
Tafika chela mabag. Referring Africa sama so amonika chela bag Africa.
Exactly. FIFA.
The enmity starts from there.
From there.
Just by virtue of them seeing you, and then they just start, hey, but what have I done? So it is a thankless job, I think. I've been looking for that word.
It's very important for people actually to understand that without game officials, without actually referees, just imagine what would happen without referee. Out of 100, how many games would play from 1 to 90? I've just been trying to think. Sometimes I actually tell these people to say, okay, what if every team should come with their own referee? Yes.
And then
there would not be much.
You do games on your own. What would happen? Because you always telling us that we don't know our job, we don't know what to do, blah blah blah. Nangangati week tabakama just okay. Mukalize mweka mabora. Ingangare bwanji. Yangasile mabora. I'm telling you, social media would be buzzing, man. We'd be reading stories after stories.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just one of those jobs. I've understood that this is a job where people do not really understand the dynamics of my job.
Exactly.
So I shouldn't really relent and maybe just feel demotivated because people do not understand. It's me who understands me.
Oh yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Do you think it's an issue of not understanding your role as a referee, or it's an issue of not appreciating, the job actually, the role of a referee?
It could be a matter of both.
Okay.
Because there are times when I've been castigated for doing the right thing. I know that what I've made is the right decision, but this person is castigating me because he's not well informed.
So what would be your feeling at that moment?
Those days when I was just starting up, I used to feel bad, but this time around, it's lotion on my body, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm used.
Okay.
Sometimes when you would make a decision based on things that people on and whatever, but okay.
This is a fault.
But because it does not favor him, he's just gonna go like,
this is a violation. This is an infringement. Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
So I've just taken it like it's part of my job. That's something that I need to understand as part of my job.
Is that something that gets you guys, to grow thick-skinned, with such sentiments?
If we have to talk about thick skin, I have the thickest skin, man. I've got the skin of an elephant right now because man, there's stuff that we hear, there's stuff that we're gonna be taught.
Oh yeah.
There's stuff that is so unbelievable out there.
Okay.
One time I went to Lusaka to do a game, then I called my elder brother because we needed to meet. So I told him, okay, I'm going for a game at Independence Stadium. Can we meet? Where are you? Okay, so quickly I picked him up, then we went together, So we needed to do whatever we needed to do after the game. I said, we can go together for the game if you are free. Okay, so he sat in the stands. I was doing my game there, and then it ended. Then we left the stadium. We went to sit somewhere. where we went to have some lunch,
Yes.
some late lunch, of course.
Yeah.
So now that was his first time watching me. That was last year, manje chair.
Okay.
That was his first time to
Watching
watch
you
me. Yeah.
officiating.
Yeah, so I asked him, how was the game? Like, how, I'm not really trying to ask you how I controlled the game, but how was your experience?
Yes,
You know, like you
being incognito in the terraces.
exactly.
Yes.
You being a spectator while
Yes.
I'm officiating a game.
Yes.
This is the first time it is happening.
Yes.
How would you describe your experience? You know what he said? He said, no, I can't contend that. He said, ish, you guys are strong. Because where I was seated,
Exactly.
there was a lot of stuff that was being thrown at you which you couldn't hear.
Yeah.
Some you could hear, some you couldn't hear. But now, this stuff was going to you, but I was there listening to it. Like,
On your behalf.
so these guys are telling my young brother this
this
stuff. You understand what I mean?
I can imagine how you felt.
You know, and then I told him, man, that is a small issue. We've heard a lot. So,
Yeah,
so
Wow. So just getting back to the AFCON, you know, like I was just talking about how this feeling has been regarding controversial calls, you know, how, you know, delayed decisions on VAR, you know, how, you know, players got frustrated, you know, the fans, the coaching, and you know what do you think is the direction of football officiating in Africa in respect to what happened in Morocco?
the direction of football in Africa, my only hope is that we as a general community,
Yes.
do not
When you mean community, you mean the refereeing community?
everyone, all the stakeholders that are involved in the game of football. We should take the positive lessons out of what happened. Like you have said, and like I have agreed to say, this has been like the most controversial AFCON. You understand what I mean? So now when we say that, we have to agree that there has been a lot of commotion, a lot of things to talk about, but I prefer we take the positive lessons out of it. We as the general community,
Yes.
the players, the coaches, the spectators, the referees. Okay, this is what umbrellas the football community. So I prefer that we take the positive side, the positive lessons. Let's learn positively from whatever it is that happened. There are things that we have to discard. There are things that happened there which we shouldn't copy. Okay, because now my fear is that people are going to do something because they saw it at AFCON.
At AFCON, yes.
You understand what I mean? But now the question is it right or wrong? So we need to understand which one is right, which one is wrong. So we need to pick out what is positive. Let's learn. Let's always get the positive side and emulate it, and then the negative side we use it as a lesson and teach ourselves to say, okay, how can we learn from it?
And how can
we improve ourselves? You understand what I mean? So if there's any negative lessons,
yes,
let's pick them up and
build on
what happened, build on what we saw.
Yeah.
Because this happened this way. How can we learn from it? You understand? If there's any positive, let's pick it up from there. Because that tournament had both positive and negative. Despite it being the most controversial, on that one I actually agree with you.
Despite the Morocco 2025 AFCON being controversial in respect to officiating, CAF already is releasing figures indicating that this was one of the most successful AFCONs in terms of revenue, the negatives from this AFCON, but we pick the positives and actually build on, because this is not the last AFCON. There are so many AFCONs already. Teams that were actually booted out in terms of so many areas, that borders around the successful hosts, of an AFCON. And reason why I am agreeing with you that we don't actually pick the teams that didn't even make it to the round of 16, and they left. They were already in their rebuilding process and trying to envision them qualifying to the next AFCON. Okay, so it's very important to start to look at the positives. What are some of the positives that can help grow, the game on the continent?
Okay.
So, with that said, Timmy, I would love you just to give your views in terms of how does such lessons that you learned, as a game official from the AFCON help you as a local referee in growing the local game?
Okay. That is a very beautiful insight. There's, me, what I've come to understand, there's always a term that I use, ballers cantemba.
Okay.
Football is not a cantemba. You know what I mean by that?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot that is involved in football. Sometimes people just look at football as, okay, I'm just going to come up, okay, nza booking a ground, pacha. Not na booking, nza pempa pa school, wazambo ntandis. And then you get some local guys, you make a team, you start playing, Then you fail to fulfill a fixture in Mazabuka. Pa Mazabuka sharp. Mazabuka from Monza to Mazabuka is just 60 kilometers. You fail to fulfill a fixture because you're just used to go and play. Ukaenda kutea in St. Mary's. So you were not ready for that. You understand what I mean? So that's the reason why I always use these terms to say, borders can't temper. There is a lot of investment that needs to be done for football to be successful. And that is something that Morocco did. Did you see their stadium?
Morocco actually had heavily invested in that. You know what I mean? You talk about the stadium, you talk about hospitality, the transport. Morocco actually, as a host, were 100% prepared for
that. That was massive, man.
That was massive investment, That's the reason why, football is actually viewed as, a global tool for national development.
And also a unifying factor.
Exactly. Already, they just ended AFCON in Morocco has, helped the Moroccan economy in so many areas.
So many ways, man. Because
in the last 28 days that all the 24 teams, were in Morocco for the financial aspect in Africa, were actually in Morocco. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spectators, players, game officials, scouts.
Geographically,
team owners.
Geographically, Morocco is situated on the north of Africa.
Yes.
Where when you just cross, you are in Spain. I'll give you an example. Cameroon versus Ivory Coast. These are teams that were in the same group. Did you watch that game? Cameroon versus Cameroon versus Ivory Coast.
Yes, I did.
Did you see the people that just came to witness that game?
That game.
Kylian Mbappe is one of them. He had to come and watch that game because that guy, the father, comes from Cameroon.
Yes, they flew.
They flew from Spain to come and watch that game in Morocco, man, because that was Cameroon versus Ivory Coast. Ulerian Chouameni from Real Madrid, the defensive midfielder, he was in presence. Jules Koundé from Barcelona was one of the people that watched that particular game. But when we look at these other games, there is a lot of other legends that were watching.
Unknown legends.
Rigobert Song, he was in presence. Yes. El Hadji Diouf, he was in presence from start to finish of the tournament.
Yes.
The legendary musician AFCON from Senegal.
Yeah, he was there.
He was in presence.
Yeah.
Up to the final. JJ Okocha.
Yes.
Name them. The former coach, the one who won the first AFCON for Senegal, Aliou Cisse, he was in presence. A lot of people.
Yes.
So when you talk about a well-prepared tournament, yes, that is one. Yes. Morocco really prepared for that. When you look at the stadium, before a game starts, there's an aerial view of the stadium. They, they capture the city, how the city is looking like. Did you see the city lights?
Beautiful.
Look at what Morocco did. When it comes to investment, readiness, preparedness, because that is the question.
Yes.
Morocco was 100% on point.
Yeah.
And those are Arabs. Yeah. Arabs don't play when it comes to that. Did you see Qatar World Cup 2018?
Oh yeah.
Arabs don't play when it comes to investment. They know if they want to get something, they will get it by any means. The stadium was beautiful.
Yeah.
All the venues, I'm told they used six
Six venues, yes.
All the venues were beautiful, nice,
yes. And all the teams were hosted in 9 cities.
Yeah, and they used 6.
So that's the positive side that other countries actually can learn.
We need to learn that. We need to
learn that.
Take a leaf from that.
And see how we can, learn
and improve
build.
ourselves.
You know what I mean? If we have to position ourselves to to host some of these major sporting events on the continent.
Investment.
So with that said, I keep on talking about how the controversies regarding officiating on the continent, despite Morocco having prepared that well, for the host of the AFCON, would you say CAF actually, as the convener of AFCON, were ill-prepared in terms of officiating?
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to say that, because some of these things, it's very difficult for you to just point them out, because first of all, you do not have evidence.
AFCON actually gave you as local, referees an opportunity to learn, you know what I mean? Indirectly, I would say you actually you got the exposure, you know what I mean? Because for me, I understand exposure is actually, two ways. It's not all the time that you get exposed by traveling. Sometimes in this digital age, actually, you get exposed by watching.
Exactly.
Yes. So, what are some of the lessons that you have learned as an upcoming young football referee?
There's quite a lot of lessons from there. Football is governed by 17 laws. There's this book that we use, our module. It's called Laws of the Game. It's actually readily available. It's just that people don't want to read. It's there on Play Store as an app, and it's also there in PDF format. It doesn't even have a lot of pages. If you really want to read it, you can read. It's just 100 and something pages. So there's law 1 up to law 17, right?
Okay.
Like all the football is within there. Law 1 up to law 17. Now, what it is that law 1 up to law 17 just gives you the backbone of, the core of what needs to be done in terms of officiating a match. That book is not just for referees, it's for everyone. We need to read it and understand it. And going forward, I want that book to be something to talk about on this show.
Okay, that's great.
Because there's one thing that I've noticed, people do not know a lot of things. Earlier I mentioned that there are times when you're going to be castigated for actually doing the right thing.
Yes.
It's not because people just want to harass you. Sometimes they don't understand what you have done.
Yeah.
And these laws are always amended every year. Each and every year they amend, they change. Even right now, there's something that has changed, that you are going to do it, people are not going to understand
it. Yes.
You get the point.
Yes.
So now,
it's more like upgrading,
exactly.
Just like a software.
Exactly, a software always upgrades. Yeah, it always upgrades.
Yes.
They will improve some things here and there. They will omit some stuff, add some stuff, So, what I can say is that there is some stuff that is not really in the laws of the game that we get to learn from tournaments.
Okay.
Particularly, the first thing that I can talk about is VAR. Not everyone is exposed to VAR. VAR is something that is not really a thing that everybody has got an opportunity on. Like here in Zambia.
It's a behind the scene.
Yeah, it's a behind the scene thing. So, but I appreciate the fact that CAF has been moving country by country to organize these VAR workshops. Not everyone is going to go there. Just a few people are going to be selected to go for VAR training. Yeah, I was not. There was phase 1 and phase 2 that was done last year. I was not part of that, but we learned from the people that went there.
Yes.
Yeah, because they say when you're blessed, you bless others.
Oh, yeah.
So the people that were blessed to go to that tournament, when they came back, they gave us the information. They shared. Yeah. So I may not know exactly
the nitty-gritties.
Exactly, but at least I've got the basics, because somebody who learned that side came to give me the lessons about it. Yeah, so VAR is number 1. How VAR works, I've come to understand. I've seen some things where I can't even ask myself to say, okay, why is this happening like this? Because now I understand to say, okay, it's happening like this because there's VAR. And like I have said, there is a lot of stuff that is not in law 1 up to 17, which we call law 18. Law 18, we call it common sense.
Okay.
That is where common sense, game management
needs to be applied.
Between law 1 and law 17, there's no topic, game management. There's nothing in the laws of the game. So that game management comes from your intelligence. And that's the reason why CAF, FIFA, now they want intelligent referees. a referee who is able to read the situation,
Yes.
a referee who is able to see that what is likely to happen next here is this, so I'm supposed to prevent it by doing this.
And I'm happy to hear that from you. Just that explanation is bringing me, closer to in the modern artificial intelligence. How do you see, like artificial intelligence playing a role in game officiating in the future?
Artificial intelligence is something we're going to regret at the end of the day, especially in Zambia, because we're abusing it. AI has caused a lot of damage, man. AI, but when it comes to football,
yes,
don't
you see AI playing a role in, for instance, in the application of VAR?
It can.
Yes.
It can, but
not to some extent.
Obviously, the human mind.
Yes, has to be.
It has to be there,
of course.
because
yes,
where AI is involved, obviously, we're not just going to let a football game be played under the auspices of AI, under the observation of AI. There has to be human reasoning somewhere.
Exactly.
There are some areas where we can apply AI.
Yes.
Then there are some areas where we can say no.
Of course, AI is not 100%.
Exactly. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Human mind has to come in. Human reasoning has to come in, because AI is programmed.
Exactly. Wind a little bit to the last day of the AFCON. That final. The host Morocco versus
that game.
Senegal.
That game actually made me doze off at work because I slept very late.
Yes.
Because there was that.
Were you taking notes?
Yeah, I was.
Yes.
Of course,
Yeah.
like I have told you, I always watch these games with a different spectacle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I'm looking at,
Yes.
But then, there was that 10 to 15 minute stoppage.
Yes.
Then later on, when the game was done,
yes,
now the phone was buzzing,
exactly,
groups,
yes,
people,
exactly,
now I went for work, and then I arrive at work, everyone wants to talk to me about it,
Yeah?
They want to talk to you, they want to hear what you're going to say.
Let me ask you this question, Timmy. In normal circumstances, what does that 15 minutes stoppage mean in a football match?
It means a lot, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yes, so I'd like to understand it from a referee's point of view.
That 15 minute stoppage was a lot, man.
Yes.
There was quite a lot from there. I've had games where we have such stoppages, but then I've always been a fan of Sadio Mane. I like that guy because of his humility, his sportsmanship,
and of course his leadership.
Yeah, but if there's a game that made him earn respect from me, it's that particular game.
Yes.
Sadio Mane knew that if we let this game be abandoned, because we saw the coach trying to call the players off the field. No, we're not going to do this.
Yes.
Chokanche. We've seen those things, you award a penalty and then the coach goes like, Chokan mon ground penalty. You get the point.
Like more abandon the game.
And we've had games end like that in the lower leagues.
Yes.
We've had such games. Now, that's the most disappointing thing about that stoppage, because we saw an international coach do that at a continental level.
So what does that tell, a local coach?
That was a sad scenario.
It was, yes.
That was a sad scenario, and I only hope the virus has not laid enough eggs in the community, because now
they watched it.
If a coach who is coaching a Division 2 team watched an international coach at AFCON,
yes, influencing his players to go to the
field of play, go
to the change room.
That penalty, I'm not satisfied with it. So Chokan mon ground involved. One of these fine days, I hope it doesn't happen. Like I have said, there were lessons. I hope we took the positives
and not the negatives.
And the negatives, we used them to learn. Now, that was a negative lesson, because you don't do that. That was an international tournament, a continental showcase.
Yes.
I condemn in the strongest words what Pape Theo did.
Yes. And I've learned that actually CAF has suspended him.
according to the information that
Yes.
I've also checked out, it's saying they've suspended him, obviously pending investigations.
Yes.
He's apologized. Yeah, he will apologize, but then it doesn't wrap the fact that what he did was wrong. Please, I'm appealing to coaches right now. Don't copy what he did. There was nothing
Unprofessional,
sporting,
but
very unprofessional.
and sportsmanship.
Now,
Yes.
this is the reason why I say Sadio Mane earned my respect, because despite the coach, the players moving, at first they moved from the pitch, they went to the technical bench.
Yes, the sideline. Yes.
They sat there.
Yes.
Sadio Mane remained on the pitch with a few other players.
Yes.
And then later on, they were ordered to leave the technical bench. They went to the dressing room.
Yes. So
Okay.
just on there, what does the rule book say if all the players actually leave the playing field and they go to the sideline?
They've boycotted. They don't want to play. And me,
So
as
at
a
that
referee,
moment, as a referee,
I'm not supposed to force them to play. If they don't want to play,
yes,
I've got nothing to lose.
what would you do in that instance?
I'm abandoning the match because they don't want to play.
You abandon or you end the game?
What happens there is, I cannot force the players,
Yes.
or the coach,
Yes.
to tell his
These
players
players
to
to come
play.
back.
The only thing that I'm supposed to do is put it clear that my decision is a penalty kick. But now, if you people are going to say you're not comfortable with the decision that I have made, and you want to boycott because my decision is not right,
Yes.
now it's beyond me. If what you are going to do is move away from the pitch,
Yes.
the only thing that I'm going to do is, since there is no opponent, because those guys cannot play alone, there's no opponent, obviously we end the game there, then I report to my relevant authorities.
Okay.
So those people are going to look at my report. What happened in this game? Oh, the players left the field, they boycotted because the referee awarded a penalty
They
kick.
were not satisfied with the decision
It's
of
up,
the ref.
it's up to them. Provided for them, they're going to see that no, the referee couldn't continue because there were no opponents.
For instance, if a decision is made by the ref and players are not satisfied and they decide to leave the play field to the sideline, is there time that is given before the center referee can make a decision?
It is not really specified to say you are supposed to wait for these minutes.
Okay.
It just comes out of your discretion to say, okay, I don't think we can continue. You read the situation, you read the environment, you have to tell to say, are these guys negotiable or non-negotiable? When it reaches a non-negotiable situation, a non-negotiable point, you just abandon the match and then report accordingly, so that those people who are going to sit and resolve that case, they should look at the report, and because they will use your report to make a decision.
Yes. What really happened?
Exactly. So it's now there is no specific number of minutes that is given.
Yes.
It's you just to say, okay, prepare Africa, I think I still continue. The only thing that is specified in the laws of the game, according to Law 5, which is the referee. Law 5 talks about the referee, my duties, my powers.
Okay.
That is one of the laws that
Supreme.
actually, yes, that is a very important law out of all the 17 laws. It talks about the referee. You know what it says? The decision of the referee is final and must be respected. So if I make my decision is final.
It's final.
If you don't want to respect it,
so now the AFCON is gone. Countries have a lot of lessons to learn from what happened in Morocco. Players, coaches, scouts, team owners, officials, and all countries, of course, governments. What do you think are some of the lessons that Raz has picked from AFCON and would love to implement amongst the local, the general membership of the local referees?
First of all, before, I don't know what they picked from there.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would actually advise is that courses, workshops are very important.
Okay.
We need to be learning.
Oh, yeah.
Learning is very important. I remember some 2 weeks ago we had a workshop as Southern referees in Choma. I don't know if you heard about it. We had a workshop. There was a workshop for Southern referees The referees manager was there. Yeah, the Southern Provincial Exco chairperson was there. The Southern League Competitions chairperson was there. The Southern Provincial Referees Coordinator was there, you know, and some other instructors of the province.
Okay.
We shared quite
A lot of information.
fruitful conversations, lessons,
Yeah.
you know. Like I have told you, the law 1 to 17 is just there as a guideline to say so, but there are things that are not in there. Where party law 1 paper so there are some other nitty-gritties that you need to talk about.
Yes.
These are things that you are not going to find in the laws of the game.
Having said that, do you think RAS now or CAF itself, based on the controversies that surrounded the AFCON 2025, do you feel it's very important for FIFA, CAF, FAS, RAS to start to think to upgrade the training for officials, you know, like
Very
referees and game officials?
Very, very important. It's very important. People need to learn, because on that level, on FIFA level,
Yes.
those people are learning almost every time.
Every time, yeah.
They are always being updated every time. But like I've told you, when you're blessed, bless others. So when those guys go to
Such
learn,
training.
mostly they learn from Egypt, Cairo. When they come back, you know, they're going to share some information with you people.
Yes.
There's always that gray area which the laws of the game does not explain. You understand what I mean? So there's always those Tuma lessons, Tuma refresher courses. On FIFA level, the people that are on FIFA level are actually blessed. Yeah, because those guys, they're always getting the information from the horse's mouth. And there's always courses for them. You understand what I mean? So it is supposed to be a deliberate move to make sure that from FIFA level, you know, from FIFA level, we go to continental level, whoever attended that course, when they go back to their country, they distribute this information to, exactly, you understand what I mean? So FAS should always make those deliberate moves to make sure that every province at least benefits they learn something out of it. Learning should always
be continuous.
It's a continuous process. People must not stop learning. I wrote my first exam some years back, but I still need to learn.
Exactly.
You understand? These laws are being amended each and every day. Things keep on changing. I always need to be ahead of the coach, ahead of the players, ahead of the spectators. Because I'm a law enforcer. It's me who is enforcing the law. I always need to be ahead. Those guys are my friends, but you know.
In winding up, Timmy, for a moment, I want you to imagine you were the last guy who managed the final.
Yo.
I want you to look in the camera and tell our viewers and listeners what decision you would have made on that penalty.
The penalty that Morocco had?
Yes, that penalty that led to the stoppage.
Okay.
Was that a violation?
Okay.
Was there an infringement?
I want people to understand carefully here. Okay? The infringement that led to Morocco penalty.
Yes, awarding a penalty.
Yeah. There was a corner, right? Morocco had a corner. If I remember very well.
Yes, it was a corner.
Yes, Morocco had a corner, so there was a cross, and then Malik Diop, the defender for Senegal, wanted to hit the ball, and then
ended up
he extended a hand and grabbed Brahim Diaz's shoulder or neck, whatever it is, and then Brahim went down, fell to the ground. The referee did not award that. Okay? Then later when the ball went out of play, Brahim protested loudly and clearly, openly. So the referee was called for a review, and then now here is what it is. The moment the referee was called for a review, I actually told the people that I was watching with to say this is going to be a penalty. Okay? Why did I think so? It's because whatever happened there was a thing where, okay, quite alright, are we going to support that penalty? Yes, we are going to support it, because before Malik Diop headed the ball, he actually grabbed the shoulder of the opponent. You understand what I mean?
To the point of him falling
down. We don't know if he exaggerated the fall, but it's clear that the fall was caused by his pushing or pulling. And then it advantaged him in a situation where it gave him an advantage to play the ball freely, because after the opponent fell down, he headed the ball out of the penalty area.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the thing is that is entirely up to the referee. It is not really a very obvious foul that even a bird is going to see and say that is a penalty. You understand what I mean? If the referee is not going to blow for that, especially for games like those where there's VAR, if the referee was not going to blow for that, if he was going to blow,
yes,
I don't think VAR was going to come in and ask him to check for an obvious error, because the job of VAR is to check if there is an obvious error. They come in where there is an obvious error. Now, when you go there, it's up to you as a referee to maintain the earlier decision or to change based on what you have seen.
What you have seen.
Now, that incident in particular, I don't think if the referee had awarded a penalty, VAR was not going to come in, because they were going to have enough belief to say, okay, he's seen what he's seen. VAR comes in where there is obvious error. You understand what I mean? Now, when I look at that incident...
Is it always obvious error or doubt based on the decision that the ref has made?
Where there could be obvious error,
yes, VAR will apply.
VAR will come in.
Yes.
They are not going to make a decision. They're just going to call you to say, go and check.
Go and
then it's up to you,
yes,
to say, okay, what I made earlier is still the same decision that I'm going to stand with. Or, there's 9 misai. Then he's now going to come with that, and you know. So now that particular incident, that is an incident where if the referee missed it, we are not really going to put a knife on his head. It was going to be a normal, I don't want to call it a normal contact in football, because obviously there was that deliberate push. For me, yes, it amounts to a penalty, the fact that it was called on VAR. But if he's going to miss that one, we're not going to blame the referee.
Okay.
I don't know if I've answered your question.
So, in the absence of VAR, what do you think would have been the outcome of that?
I don't think that penalty was going to be awarded.
Wow.
Because that was not an obvious foul. Yet Zalira no kamanjere bamukanira penalty Morocco.
So, Timmy, that was actually great, insight, review, about some of these decisions that you make, as a referee.
Yeah.
Especially based on the lessons that you've learned from, like the AFCON. And I'm just imagining how you want to apply some of these lessons that you've learned, watching actually on your own.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think would be the best approach, to capacity build referees, especially for local young aspiring, like referees who would love to get an opportunity, to officiate big games, at the stage of an AFCON?
We need to make it a deliberate policy. Learning has to always happen all the time. We need to be obsessed with learning. We need to be obsessed with refreshing our minds, especially when it's off season. When the season is closed, we are jumping into a new season. We need to make it a deliberate policy that we learn and refresh our minds about what we need to do, how we need to execute ourselves in the coming season. So, like for the young and upcoming, learning is not even something that is supposed to be subjective. Learning is for everyone. Whether you're experienced, let me tell you the truth, even the topmost referee right now is still learning. You understand what I mean? So just learn what is within your level. Learn what is supposed to be learned at that level, for you to get to the next stage. Such that when you reach that next stage, you start learning even more advanced things. Because the things that I'm learning today are not the things that a guy who passed exam last month is learning. Okay? He's learning palevo yake na yeye.
Different.
Yes. Now in family punzira lero are not the things that the person that was at AFCON is learning. You understand that these people who go for AFCON, they actually go there like a month before. Why do they go there a month before? They have to learn. That tournament is supposed to be handled in a certain way.
Professional way.
Exactly. So they go there like a month before they are there. Before teams even arrive. Teams before they even start camping, they go to Spain to go and camp, and what referees are already on the ground. They are learning. Yes, they are already being taught to say, apatization so tournament yes they're being given the ingredients of how the tournament must be handled. So learning is a way that is going to actually enhance everyone regardless of the level, starting from the bottom to the topmost. Even the person who is still at the topmost is still learning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's a fun one. Are there times when you're officiating a game and again you feel which is a better team to win it?
That's a tricky one. Okay, when we are officiating a game, there's quite a lot that we see. I view the game from a different perspective than everyone else.
Yeah.
The coach is looking at it from a tactical perspective to say, and do watch the maningi attack. So akajaga just then kavuta maningi tukamake, so attacking yakanga pa we do this that tactics.
Analytical.
Fans just want to win.
Yes.
Aye.
For fans it's
a win.
They don't care how that goal comes.
They even shout at you.
Yes.
They just want to win.
They want the ball to hit the net.
Yeah. That's what they've come for.
Yes.
But you as a referee, there's a lot that you are looking at.
Yes.
But then, there are some times when you find a team that is really knocking the ball around and doing what's necessary.
Everything possible.
Very disciplined. They are doing whatever it is. When you blow the whistle, the captain is just going to be like, guys, tend to organize. The goalkeeper saves. They are not going to blame you for anything.
Yes.
Under fair play grounds.
Yes.
I say, okay, this team deserves to win. But if they don't win, it could be Mwiinga still. It's just me trying to feel like, okay, this because there is fair play. Yes, there's that room for fair play. That is, if we were told to award a team for fair play every now and then, we were going to be doing that. There are some teams that are going to do everything right, but will lose a game. But it's not your problem. The team that had a chance, they've scored. But under fair play reservations, you're just going to say, they could have won. But there's nothing that I can do to make them win. You understand?
Yeah. Aside you being a referee, we are watching an AFCON in the finals.
Yes.
Morocco the host versus Senegal. Which team were you supporting?
I was going with Senegal for that particular final.
Okay.
I'm happy with the result that came out.
Yeah.
Because when that penalty was awarded,
man,
I didn't know how to feel.
Yeah.
Because that penalty came at a time when there was no way out for Senegal.
Okay.
That was in the additional time.
Oh yeah. Were you really excited for Senegal
when that penalty was saved?
Yeah.
I think I was. Because
at that time when you derive such excitement when you're officiating local games, when a team that you feel is very cooperative, they are not argumentative, they score and you feel you get that excitement for them.
No, when you're officiating, it becomes a different ballgame. Because that day I was just watching it from the comfort of my home. I was just.
But it's a feeling.
Yeah.
You want to express your feeling.
Yeah, like I have said, there are teams that just deserve the credit. When they play well, they've done everything right. They've been disciplined.
Yeah.
So you just go like, okay, they should have won, but.
Of course, without your help.
But you cannot. Yes.
Yeah, without you influencing.
Exactly. I cannot do anything for them to win. If they failed to win, then they've failed. There's nothing that I can do. Okay. And then I cannot really express my joy and happiness there. Because at that point, I'm operating as a law enforcer. I'm enforcing the laws. Now, if I go out there and start expressing my excitement because this team has won, how am I going to look like? But then, looking at that particular AFCON, I was just there as a fan.
You're a fan. Yeah.
Obviously, I was home.
You're home,
So,
you can express whichever way.
Yeah.
What is your encouragement in terms of the relationship between referees, players, and coaches?
That is a very nice question. I don't know why people tend to look at us as villains of the game. As referees, we are very important stakeholders. This is something that we cannot run away from. I've seen games where games in Achaik and the referees and Abwede in these lower divisions. Okay? There's hundreds of people. Why is Wanga Tengeche Mundu at Iwo Bweda Ulize Kaya Refs and Abwede?
They can't do that.
You see that?
Yeah. because you are an important, you know,
figure of that particular
figure.
game.
Yes, you are an important figure of that process.
Because there's hundreds of people from all walks of life
Yes.
that have come to watch there. But then it's 15 hours. Okay, but
the
if I
ref
can
is
go
not
on
showing
it.
up.
15:20, 15:30, but if I can go on it. Why can't they pick anyone from the crowd to say, "Imwe, what if Swana Bwera is a border?"
Because you are trained.
Why can't they do? There's hundreds of
Yes.
people there.
You
Why
are the
can't
only
they?
one who's assigned.
That should tell you something.
Exactly.
No matter how much people do not want to understand this or do not want to accept this, the fact is that a referee is a very important figure, is a very important stakeholder of the game, whether you like it or
You are
not.
a gatekeeper.
This is not something that we should force. This is something that everyone knows. They know it,
Yes.
even if they try to avoid it, but they know it.
Yes.
Okay? So, we should just learn to understand and accept the job of a referee.
And appreciate each
And
other.
appreciate it. Because as we actually appreciate the jobs that these coaches are doing, we actually appreciate it, you know. But if they can do the same as well, the problem comes in when there's information gap. What do I mean by information gap?
Yes.
There's a lot that people do not know that they need to know.
Yes.
Like I have said, the
What do
laws
you
of the
what
game.
in that respect? What do you encourage would be the best approach for people to, you know, to be informed of the laws that you guys enforce?
Let us get involved. Let us get involved. Let us make sure that we customize ourselves. We familiarize ourselves to the laws of the game. These laws of the game is something that is not a secret. It's there on Play Store. When you go to Play Store, you search for laws of the game, IFAB laws of the game. It will give you, it will download, it will be there on your phone. You'll be able to read. Where you don't understand, you ask someone who understands and they will explain to you. And we should have more of such platforms like we are seated here, because this conversation may not just be between me and you. Somebody out there is watching and has learned something.
Timmy,
You
it was
understand?
great. It was great to have you, my guy, in the house.
Very much fun.
There you have it. I was privileged to host Mwiinga Timmy Hangoma, you know, a young, upcoming football referee who's very passionate about the game. You heard him for yourself, how he would love, you know, the aspect of game management to improve, you know, and how he would definitely, you know, want the relationship between, you know, like players, you know, like coaches and referees as well to be. And, you know, like we've always said on Sportsnet FM radio, having the skill set alone is not enough in a world where the biggest asset is the mindset. Until we get to that level where, you know, we have really to work on the mindset part of whatever we do. There will always be friction between, you know, game enforcers like Timmy here and players and the coaches. Until we catch up next time, this has been Francis Nagonje, the Sports Addict on Sportsnet FM Radio, Zambia's home for African sports conversations, the nation's sportainment channel. Until next time, it's bye-bye. Cheers, Timmy.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, man.
Cheers, my guy.
Sure.
Broadcasting live worldwide.